Yeah.
I have a committee report meeting, but I don't have it typed up. I was going to submit it verbally. Is that okay? And can I?
There's no,
Budget
you just want to give a verbal.
I'm giving a verbal.
And then, just give me a copy of your written notes and I'll transcribe them back.
Oh,
So when you're done, just give me, I'll make a copy.
okay. There.
It'll be simple.
Okay. Thank
All
you.
right, my pleasure.
We just had the meeting this morning.
Great, absolutely.
Meeting will now come to order, please. Join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a moment of silence for the Ukrainian people.
Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call.
Yes, ma'am. Ed Weiner.
Here.
Donna Mosier. Susan Muniak. Here. Lemay Nyford.
Here.
Brenda Owens. Barry Burgess. Jennifer Smiley.
Here.
Beverly Hastings.
Here. Proof of notice, John?
Yes, Beverly, notice has been posted in accordance with your documents and Florida statute.
Thank you. Disposition of prior meeting minutes. So
I move that we approve the minutes as presented.
all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Okay. Art Committee, Russell Rogers. Okay, take your time.
Thing on or off? Off.
On. You might want to pull it up a little. There you go. There you go.
The art committee met Monday with everybody in attendance. We looked at 13 requests and we rejected 1.5. There was 2 requests on one, the widening of the driveway. We approved that, but she wanted to plant bushes, flowers in the right of way. I didn't think the county wanted stuff planted in the right of way. I don't know if that's allowed or not, but we said no to that portion.
On that one, I have a question. I thought you just approved the paint for the driveway.
Yeah, but what it was for the driveway is fine. That was fine.
And the widening is fine?
Yes. But I don't think the county wants you to plant stuff because it could be electrical cables down there, water cables, or whatever. So it's up to you.
Well, let's approve the ones that he approved, or that the ARC approved. that they recommended.
I make a motion that we approve the 11 recommended by the art committee.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? That motion's carried. Now let's discuss the two.
Second one was the installation of a.
Mike, please.
Blue, okay. The other one was the installation of a white vinyl fence in the senior section. That's not allowed in the senior section, so this was the second request, and this is the second time we've done it. It is on their property. There is a white fence, but it's also family section. It does have a fence and grandfathered in with a chain link fence. But evidently, the dogs can see through it, and they bark at cars and stuff going up Ponderosa. So she wants to put a white fence up so the dogs can't see the fence, the dog cars. I don't think that's a good excuse. But anyway, they are allowed in the senior section.
Okay. So you have a question or a comment?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the fence. And the reason I say that is in our art guidelines, it says, and she included copies for us in them, that if you have an existing fence, you may replace it as long as you replace it within 30 days. It does not say it has to be the same type of fence that was there. All existing fences in the senior villages come under deep restrictions and architectural guidelines. Only existing fences can be replaced within 30 days of removing the original fence. It does not say anything about what kind.
Let me caution you though, once you open this up and let that fence in, anybody can put a white fence in.
No, only if they're.
Why can't they?
Only if they're replacing a fence that exists, then they could. It's replacing an existing fence.
That's what it says. John has something.
John.
Is there a question about this fence as to whether we're just replacing chain link? Isn't there part of this yard where we're putting up a fence where there is no fence now?
No,
No, it's a chain link fence. And what I was told was that the rain washes the water out from underneath the fence, and the dogs go underneath that. Well, you get deeper.
Eileen, you want to comment?
I'm fine, go ahead.
On the architectural select guideline, section 4, senior villages abutting family villages fence must be dog-eared overlap board type 6x6 or vinyl if all properties install vinyl fences at the same time.
Do you abut Jasmine?
What's that?
Do you abut Jasmine?
No, it doesn't say anything about Jasmine.
She
It just-
abuts San Clemente,
it doesn't-
and San Clemente, the person
It's a family
behind her on
village.
San Clemente does have a vinyl fence up.
the-
The guy behind you has a vinyl fence that runs along the back of your yard, correct?
That's correct. The man behind me put that up.
Okay,
And further down, there's another
still in the family section.
that lives in the family, so, well, they put it up against something else.
It doesn't matter, it's all in the family section, it's allowed in the family section.
Right.
Eileen, honestly, you can take your fence up to that vinyl fence and it won't make a difference, your dogs can't see through that.
I'm putting it up in order to avoid Ponderosa, and I have signatures from both neighbors that are adjacent to me regarding the vinyl fence. They have no objection to it,
I understand that, Eileen,
and the
but
guidelines say that I can do it.
it does not say that you can put up a vinyl fence
It does
on the
not.
side of your yard.
Okay, it does not say that I can And in the other section, it's under D, installation, all fences must be located in the back and side yards. Okay, not to extend past the front corner, which this would not extend past the front corner. If you look at the,
Eileen, I understand what you're saying. What I'm telling you is that nowhere in the ARC guidelines do we allow a vinyl fence in the senior section. There's nowhere.
there is nothing to say that I cannot.
It says a new fence may not be, it says once an existing fence, provided they are maintained in good condition. You have a chain link fence.
But it does not say I cannot.
Just because it does not say no vinyl, it does specify a board on board.
Well,
You can't change
or
the
vinyl.
Or vinyl, it
Where does
says.
it say that? Anywhere?
Look at B1, B1.
One.
Yeah. The only adjacent property that has installed it, which is supposed to be installed at the same time, is the property behind you in the family village.
Right, I would be, well, it's because I'm allowed to put one up because I abut the family village. That's number one. Number two, it does not say that I could not replace my fence with the vinyl fence. It's right here.
Only existing fences can be replaced within 30 days of removing the original fence. It doesn't specify it has to be with a light material. It doesn't say if you take chain link down.
It doesn't,
You
doesn't
put
work.
dog ear down.
Speak in the mic.
Sorry. Number one, it says all existing fences in the senior villages come under deed restrictions and architectural guidelines. Only existing fences can be replaced within 30 days of removing the original fence, but it doesn't specify it has to be with like material for the replacement of an existing fence.
Russ, how did the ARC committee see this?
He saw there's no fence at all.
We didn't see that it was supposed to. I don't think you put this out, allow her to do it.
Please.
Our concern was that if we let one person do it, everybody's gonna want to put a white picket fence, a white fence up.
Only if they have an existing fence. No, it doesn't say that either, Eileen.
Doesn't say that either.
You're taking it a step further than that. It just says all existing fences in the senior villages. Only existing fences can be replaced within 30 days of removing the original fence. So if you have a fence and you're in the senior village, a senior village, it's saying you can replace the fence. It does not specify with what.
The key word in that is existing. And she has an existing fence.
Right.
In the back. She does have it in down the sides.
It's chain link all around her backyard.
Yeah, where no one's
On your house in
arguing
the back,
where,
yes.
we're just arguing what.
My only problem with this is that under the architectural guidelines, it specifies every type of fence to use depending on where you live. It specifies vinyl fence, if you're in the back of Rolling Wood, in the Sable Palm or Oakwood villages, shall be made of white vinyl 6 feet high. In the senior villages on lots of budding jasmine, must be dog-eared overlap board style. It specifies that in all of them. It does not specify, although it does say existing fences. So does that mean that it has to be what was there? I don't know. Because
No.
all that was allowed was chain link fence.
But that was before all that was allowed was chain link fence.
But I'm saying all fences that are up now that are allowed have been chain link fence
That were
only.
approved prior.
Right.
Those were approved before they outlawed fences to begin with. So if it doesn't specify what kind of fence and she wants to replace it with vinyl, I don't see how we can say she can't, because it doesn't say anything in there that she can't. It says it can be replaced. So, but hers is grandfathered in, because she had it before 2006 when they made the law about no fences. So she's got in there. And she can replace it. So she could replace it with a chain link fence, or she could replace it with a vinyl fence or a wood fence, because it doesn't specify what kind of fence she can replace it with. She's just gotta replace it within 30 days of the time she takes down the chain link fence. Or else she loses her grandfather status.
Correct.
Yes, Ian?
Okay, and I was thinking 14116. If there's nothing wrong with her chain link fence, she could okay, well, even if she has to replace it with chain link, we can have living fences up to 8 feet in the backyard. That one section that you don't want your dogs to look through, why don't you just plant a living fence? Is there any more? There's somebody behind us. I don't know.
I think Doreen, you want to talk about something else, right?
Yeah, I have 2 issues I want to talk about.
Okay,
You wanna
well,
do
then,
that?
let's do this one first and then you can speak.
Can I make a motion?
I did make a motion.
Sue already made a
have one?
motion, so we have to vote on that.
I said to allow it, but I didn't have a second.
I'll second it.
Okay. To allow it.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No. Motion was carried.
Doreen. Anne Marie, rather.
Here you go, babes.
This one, thank you. That they disapproves it.
She wants to. Right, but she also wants to plant. Yeah. Right.
It's the county's.
Doreen would like to speak on that.
Okay, the first issue is about widening the driveway. This is a house that has more than 60% hardscape already in the front of the house. She was not supposed to put another brick down. You got less than a third of grass in front of her house. Secondly, there's a utility box, spectrum. It's this high, this wide, it's right between on the property line. How are they gonna get in to service that? And I have a tree that's been there, and that's gonna get killed by widening that driveway. And what about the sidewalk? You have to take the sidewalk out. But she has more than 60, I'd say close to 70% of hardscape in the front of her house, along with her 400 blinking lights. This is gonna affect a lot, widening that driveway.
Supposedly, the art committee approved the widening of
Well, they
the.
should go on Google and display the homes before they approve something. I strongly suggest that. Because you would also see there's not enough room for her to plant trees or bushes. She's got a pathway, a brick pathway. We have 7 feet each. She has a brick pathway that takes up 3.5 feet. So you tell me what she's going to plant in 3 feet.
That part was turned down.
Yeah, I know, but they were telling me. you wanna know. Yeah, but the driveway widening, there's no reason for it.
Well, unfortunately, it's been approved.
Well, how can you approve it when she's already got 2/3 hardscape? The rest of us have to live by the rules. ACR should have looked into it.
Everyone is entitled to 22 feet of width of driveway.
And there's another rule that says you can only have so much hardscape.
But that
Especially in the,
includes the
you gotta consider
backyard
all
too.
the rules. You gotta consider,
Considers the backyard.
huh?
That also includes the backyard.
What does, the 60%?
Yes.
No, this is just the front, not the sides and not the back. That's a whole other issue. This is 60% in the front.
Debbie, can you check that for us?
And you got that utility box there, in Spectrum. Not the small one, it's the big one, like this. And they're always working in that for everybody from all the way down that's on cable.
That would be on the right of way.
It's between our property and she's gonna come close enough that it's gonna be hard for them to get in that box and work.
Well, then they will remove. They can't
Really?
get in their box, they will remove it. But we're not approving that, we're only.
I'm confused. Where does she want to put, Russ, where does she want to put the plants?
Between the houses. Between the house, she wants to make.
Between the houses, not on the tree lawn.
Between the houses, there's not enough room. I actually got approved a year ago to put a living fence in, and I only put 4 plants in the back for 2 reasons. There is perpetual drainage that goes through between the 2 houses, and planting a hedge would have stopped. And number 2, there is a utility easement, a 5-foot utility easement between the houses. So that meant that every time they had to service something, a utility, they would have had to dug up my hedges. So I opted not to put the hedge there.
Russ, is this in the easement or is this on her property?
This is an easement
I'm
between.
sorry, I'm asking Russ if he's checked it, please.
It's the easement.
Is it in the easement? Then we can't. Okay.
Since there's no holes in the wall from the golf course all the way down, we rely on the water to go between the houses to go out to the street. No, it's 2 reasons.
Do they consider the driveway part of the landscaped area? And there's no reason we can stop her from going 22 feet on the driveway. There's nothing we can do about
Is
it.
the driveway going on the easement?
No,
Yes.
he's saying yes.
If the
Russ is
easement
saying-
goes from the back of the back wall to the front, yes, that easement is 5-foot, utility easement is all the way down.
I think we have to check
To the
this out before
sidewalk.
we go any further with it. I think we have to, Russ, I think we have to look at this more as far as we have to have the area that she's asking for.
Dimensions on the drawing.
Yeah, I know that, but it does not give the dimensions of the lot or how far away she is from the easement or where the easement is. I don't even see that.
Because she doesn't have a survey.
Look on Google Earth or on the, pull it up.
Let's see what we can pull up if we can determine it without a survey or an easement on it. We can look at the county maps. All right.
Come on, John. Put your 2 cents in.
Go ahead, John.
Just one comment about the driveway. I've been here for over 2 years. I don't remember ever being in question of utility easement coming up, that would be a concern for the county, not the HOA.
Well, I've been here 21 years, and that's been dug up twice.
What has been dug up?
Not that side, but the other side. When utility needs to get in there, they need to get in there, and they'll dig it up. And they dug from the sidewalk all the way back to the wall.
The utility easements run all through Timber Oaks. If you're gonna ask this question about this particular request, then you just added a lot of work onto the architectural committee's job description.
Is there a rule how far from a neighbor's property you can put a driveway?
Yes.
Unless it's county.
I'm
not
getting
the-
both, I'm getting answers yes and no. Does anyone know for sure? Okay, we have to check into that then.
They already approved the driveway.
It was approved before, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was approved back on.
This was approved before.
March 1st.
March 1st.
Just remember, every time you approve something that gets hardscaped, there's no place for the water to go. Do you understand that? There's no place for the water to go. She's already got 60% hardscape. I'm already working constantly. She was up to my house. My lawns get flooded all the time. There's no place for the water to go. You want to come up with buckets and dig out the water every time we have a storm? She's got 2/3 hardscape, no more. Or my house is gonna be floating down Tapestry Drive. Whenever you put a hardscape, that water has no place to go. And it can't go out but get the wall because it's a solid wall. That's why they said no more than 1/3 of your lawn can be hardscaped. Or 50% is it? Okay, 50%. She's way over the limit. Aesthetically, it's gonna look crummy.
That's not something we are to judge. I'm very sorry, I understand what you're saying, but that's not something that the art committee or that we judge. If she is within the limits of her lot, and we will check into what you're saying and decide whether or not this is allowed. At this point, I think we have to hold on it.
I just want you to check on the ruling. It's in our
We will do that.
bylaws.
Okay.
that So much can be hardscape, period. Applies to everybody.
3 minutes are up. We will do that.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we rescind our approval on this until we check it out.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, budget committee. Oh, I'm sorry, John.
Debbie's gonna need some more detail than that, because is this project, will she get notice before or after the next meeting to whether to send an approval or a denial, or like how's this gonna play out for the next 2 weeks?
It's on a hold. So we're tabled it.
So you would table this request on this day.
Pending further review.
What's the review who's reviewing?
I would suggest Russ?
Yeah.
We're asking that the art committee go out and measure this or check this out. Is that possible? Thank you. The art committee will review this as far as how much is being taken up.
She was already approved. This is the second design, so she's been notified. Just this particular design.
Everyone knows that she's already received an approval letter, and I don't know if she's already started the project or not.
It was approved last one. Has she started this? She has not started it according to her neighbor, so I think if we can call her and let her know that it has been put on hold and she cannot go forward at this point.
What if we get something back, like she's already paid a deposit and signed a contract? happen, you know.
We'll deal with it as we can.
Well, so I'll call her after the meeting and I'll let you guys know.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Rob, Budget Committee.
Thank you. Rob Sitneski, 10539 Farnham Court, acting as chairman for the Budget Committee. Budget Committee for the 2022-23 Timber Oaks budget was first convened on February 18th, with subsequent meetings on March 2nd and today, March 16th, this morning. The committee consisted of Peggy Byrne, Chris Dombrowski, Karen Fritsch, Jennifer Smiley, Dave Tully, Patty Weislick, myself, committee chair. Also included was Sue Oniak and John Atwell, who acted as liaison for Timber Oaks Treasury and RPM Management, respectively. At the conclusion of this morning's meeting, the committee is confident to forward budget proposal to the board as discussed. The notes and changes to the budget will need to be approved in printed form by the budget committee and subsequently forwarded to the TOXA board for review for its proposal or change as appropriate. We anticipate the budget committee's suggested proposal to be finalized and forwarded to the board within 7 to 10 days. Respectfully submitted, Rob Sitneski, Chairman, Budget Committee.
Thank you. Anybody from the board have anything they want to say? We look forward to seeing it.
Thank you.
Okay, unfinished, excuse me, business. Yes, John?
Beverly, just to make sure everyone on the board's aware, depending on what you're thinking, if you need one, after the budget's presented, if you need one meeting to review and another meeting to approve, before we have a meeting where it's anticipated the budget will be approved, we need at least a 3-week notice to get the proper notification out. So.
Thank you, John. Okay, the swimming pool project seems to be moving right along on schedule. I don't find that funny, but the update is we did have a change order relating to the coping, which is the tiles up to the coping weren't tall enough or long enough. So they're going to add is it a 3-inch? No, it's a ½ inch, 1.5 inch tile on the top. And we had to sign and approve that, which we did. John, do you have anything you want to add to that?
No, we've got a projected date for the contractor to be done and for the pool to be open on April 1st. And from watching the work and talking to the vendor, even despite a couple of bad weather days, it looks like so far today, we're still on track.
Thank you. Okay, fines and suspension.
Can I say something?
Oh, I'm sorry, Dale, I didn't see you.
Yeah, I was always taught to measure once and where you cut. However, with this extra tile now, is that costing extra money or are they throwing that in?
Yes.
So it's more money? Okay.
Here's the problem, Dale. Before they took the coping off, it's a different size than what they thought it was. And nobody would have known until it was removed. It couldn't have been projected to happen until after the demolition occurred.
I could understand that if they had never done a built-in pool before, but if they've done a built-in pool before, wouldn't it be the same thing on another pool as it is with this? We got a special pool?
A different coping.
So the new coping is not gonna cover the tile that they originally
It will.
bought? No, it'll cover the new tile you're gonna put on, right?
First off,
Putting on.
Eileen, state your name and that since you're talking.
Eileen, Euro Vista Drive.
When the old coping was taken off to be replaced, the new coping did not cover 1.5 inches of what was there. You could not see this until the coping was removed. We had to pay extra because they need to split a tile in half in order to cover that edge that was showing that 1.5 inches. So they gave us a price of $6,900, don't awe yet, and $30, discounted to $3,565. They cut that in half. So it's $3,000. They are cutting tiles in half and installing them all around the pool in order to cover that 1.5 inches.
So it's $3,000 extra.
$3,565.
No, they just gave us a credit of $450 more, so it's only $3,150.
But
And that's even better.
so it's $3,000 additional cost.
$3,000.
Would it have been any cheaper to order the right size tile, or do we already have these?
You could
tiles?
not order a size tile 1.5 inches bigger than what we were putting in. They don't come in that size.
Okay, so they would have to buy it and cut it. Thank you.
Okay, any more on that from anybody? Okay. Fines and suspensions? Sue?
I make a motion that we fine the owner at 8235 Ponderosa, $50 a day, up to $5,000 for the maintenance of the concrete.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
I move that we fine the owner at 11522 Forest Run Court, $50 a day, up to $5,000 for not maintaining the lawn and landscaping. The one I'm looking at is lawn and landscaping.
Yeah, it has
Yeah,
to.
what needs to be done? I don't see anything other than brown grass, which everybody has to start doing.
I think she's talking about, trimming the edge, edging it, John.
If you look at the bold part on the cover letter, it explains what the problem is.
It just says maintenance is required for your yard and/or landscaping, which could involve mowing, trimming, edging, pruning, weeding, etc.
So it's not dead or brown or dormant grass, it's a maintenance issue.
Okay, do you have a motion and seconded? Someone second that? Okay, all right. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
I move that we fine the owner at 11522 Forest Run Court, $50 a day, up to $5,000 for the maintenance that is required on the driveway or sidewalk.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
I move that we find the owner of 10711 Salamonica Drive, $50 a day, up to $5,000 because of maintenance that is required on driveway and or sidewalk.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
I move that we find the owner at 8809 Woodmont Lane, $50 a day up to $5,000 because a commercial vehicle being kept at the home.
May I question this?
Sure.
Why is this put to current resident and not the owner?
Well, it still has to go to the owner.
It should still go to the owner as far as I mean, this is, because the next step would be to put a lien on the house, which you're not gonna do if you're finding a renter.
John, go ahead.
Typically, when you see that, there's two letters generated. One, if it's an investor owner, one will go to the current resident and one will go to the investor. We just probably, for whatever reason, that second letter didn't print with this packet. Both letters are put in the mail, but for some reason, that second letter probably didn't. I don't know this one specifically, but that's probably usually what happens. For whatever reason, that second letter didn't print and come into the packet, but it was mailed to whatever address we have.
Okay, but the property is Woodmont Lane, Port Richey, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you're saying that another letter was sent to the owner of this property at their address?
If we have an investor owner, typically two letters are generated. One goes to the current resident at the address in Timber Oaks, and the other letter goes to the address that we have for the investor owner.
Okay, can we check on this though before anything is? Okay, thank you, Deb.
You are confirming right now? She's confirming. Okay, thank you. Okay, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
I move that we find the owner at 10902 Pepper Tree Lane, $50 a day up to $5,000 for a commercial vehicle that's being kept at the home.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Motion carried. Okay. The next item is tax property, policy for disposal of used property. And, oh, I'm sorry, Maureen.
Yes, Eileen Dunn, Drive. I'd like to know if anything's been done about the home on Mira Vista Drive. It has the lawn like up to here now. I don't know, I'm not sure the address, 107.
Is that house with the black driveway?
Yes.
They're on finding already.
Is there nothing that our maintenance could just wipe the front door?
Until it goes into foreclosure.
Foreclosure?
Correct?
It's such an eyesore. Brings the values.
I know, but we can't add to it until it goes into foreclosure. Is that correct, John?
Relatively recently, this board passed a policy to where Timber Oaks will enter and clean up the property once Timber Oaks starts the foreclosure process.
Consider changing that policy.
If we change, the reason the policy was set up that way is because if we do it before that, how can you continue to fine them $50 a day for property that we have fixed? You can't. And the only way to reimburse us for the money we put into going in and doing maintenance on the property to make it look decent is when it goes into foreclosure, because then you can add that to the money that should come out. So it was the only way to protect us and do something about some of these houses.
Okay, Ed, you're up. Policy for disposal of used property.
Okay, I'm proposing, since we have 4 poker tables that we're going to get rid of. I'm proposing that we have a policy established that whenever we dispose of fixtures or furniture, that we have a public auction. The item would go, we can set a minimum bid on the item, and the item would go to the high bidder. That makes everyone has a chance. They want to pay, or if they, it's available for everyone in Timber Oaks.
Did you make a motion, Ed, or were you just discussing?
I was stating the policy, but I'll make a motion that we establish that policy.
Second.
Okay, now we can have discussion. Go ahead, Jen.
What do you propose to do if we get no bids? with Property
Then we'll dispose of it.
needs to be part of the policy.
Yeah.
And
I
what
mean,
time?
we can give it to Salvation Army or whatever.
We need a time frame from when we decide to sell it to the auction. We don't have any storage room for a lot of this stuff.
Well, we have to post the auction time in Timber Times so that
And then the
everyone
auction
is
won't be
aware of it.
until May, because we've already closed off the times for for April, correct?
So working on
Right,
April.
but
You're working on it right now?
Oh, it's not finalized? Okay, so something could go in the April timber time. Okay, sorry.
And the other thing you have to look at is even, okay, so we replaced the tables in the poker room. How long did that take? They can be auctioned off before we replace them.
Correct.
So that when we do replace them, when they are here for replacement, whoever has bought the item or bid successfully can then take it. So I think that's a fair time frame.
And I think that we should not only put it in the Timber Times, but let's start using our website, Timber Oaks 2020, and have it on that there would be an auction at this time of the tables, and we could even put pictures of the tables.
Go ahead. So if we put it in the April edition of the Timber Times, when do you recommend we have it in 2 weeks after that? Is that enough lead time or too much?
2 weeks.
So on the 14th of April, we would have so she could put that in the Timber Times that they'll be auctioned off on the, or your mid-month meeting, perhaps, April. That way you can kill two birds with one stone.
April 20th is your mid-month meeting. April 20th would be your mid-month meeting.
We wouldn't have to wait.
We could do it
We could just
sooner.
set a time and say, 11 o'clock in the morning, everybody come and make your bid.
I don't think it needs to be part of our meeting.
Okay, before we vote on it, Carl would like to say something.
I'm Carl Freiman, 8511 Elgin Drive. First of all, I'd like to say that I don't want anybody to take anybody out to say personally. Nothing personal, it's all business. At the January meeting, when I proposed the idea of buying new tables, everybody was in favor of it. That was overwhelming. You actually decided to buy 4 tables instead of 3 tables. Cutting to the chase, for the end of the day, when Ed and I went down and looked at the tables, I was able to save the board $1,800 on these 4 tables. They deducted $200 from each table, and they didn't charge us a cent to deliver them or put them together. At that time, I also said that there are 2 people that wanted to buy the tables, 2 smaller tables, because they wanted to use them as dining tables and or poker tables. And you told John at that meeting to just go ahead and sell them and get whatever he could for them instead of throwing them away. And there was a motion made by this board to do that. At the last meeting, you jumped on John saying that you told him he couldn't do that. But if you look back in the minutes, you did say that. So the idea, from what I understand, came up was that there was somebody else that wanted to buy a table and was not allowed to buy one of the smaller tables because the bigger tables were too big. So in John's defense, I don't think he did anything wrong. I agree with what you're saying. You need to make a proposal. You need to do something when we're selling furniture. But it was already decided to sell those 2 poker tables at that last meeting in January. So doing a proposal is right, but now you're taking what you said back in January away from the 2 people that you allowed them to buy the 2 poker tables. That's all I have to say.
I don't remember saying that, I will be honest with you, but even if I did, I don't think it was right to just do that without looking into it, and I didn't really question anything until people were asking me what happened to the tables and how comes certain people got them and others didn't. So with the fact that there's 4, we need to do something about it. So John, if that is what I said, I'm sorry, but we have 4 tables and they need to be auctioned and it needs to be fair to everyone here.
So the idea of selling the 2 tables at that time so that we can offset the cost of the other tables, new ones, which are fabulous, everybody loves them. If we don't sell any of them, they're gonna end up in the trash.
They will be donated, correct?
So now instead of us making money, they're gonna be going in the trash or donated.
Correct.
Okay.
And it will be that way with anything else. You know, we had arguments over the chairs and what was replaced in the lobby. And I don't think we need to do that anymore. We need to be up and above board on who's getting what and how they get it.
Yeah. Patricia French Weislich, 13806-7024. The idea of proposal is great, but I object to the word auction. I don't understand why you can't follow the format that you said, but have a drawing. You know, you're gonna get $50, $25. We don't need money. The residents have already paid for all of this furniture over many, many years. And I just don't understand why you can't have a drawing like we did with the furniture that came out of the lobby. Anybody who was interested put their name in a hat, and then they came on a certain date and it was drawn and they took the stuff away. And I just think you're overcomplicating this. And the idea of having residents bid against each other for something they already own, I just don't think that's a good policy. Thank you. Eileen?
Okay, my comment just is, seems like we're confused. We're talking about setting a policy, so I don't think there should be a time and timber times, or unless you're gonna make that part of a policy. You know, like the policy should be 30 days from the date of advertising or 14 days from the date of advertising. I think there's too much in your policy. It should be written for any time. It should be broad. That's just my comment.
Thank you.
Dale Thompson at Cheetah Drive. Yes, Lima, you did say it, I was at the meeting, but when you said to go ahead and sell them, I don't think you meant specifically to the people that may have wanted them. You meant, you know, sell them, don't just throw them out, sell them, which would have meant let everybody know that they're for sale. The second thing is, I agree with what Patty said, but then I thought about it a minute and I said, well, we all paid for them because we pay $50 a month to live here, but if somebody buys them one way or another, that money's coming back to all of us. It's not going, you know what I mean? It's not going anywhere else, so.
John?
Just 2 questions. One, I don't know if you already have it or part of the policy. What do you do if there's multiple bids for the same dollar amount? And I would love to see some of the old sound equipment auctioned off.
Sound equipment.
If you're talking a live auction, you aren't going to have multiple bids of the same price, which is what Ed was talking about. Not an auction where it's just a silent auction where everybody puts things in. And you know, one other thing, I don't know of anyone else that wanted the tables. I did afterwards, but it didn't really matter. There are 4 of them. So I don't think I didn't put this in because, or say anything to John because I knew other people who wanted them. I just thought we need a policy to get rid of them. And as far as the price, if we have an auction, bid or not bid, and the money does go back into the kitty. So it's not like we're not taking kickbacks on this as it'll show up on Facebook. So just to let you know, that was our thoughts on it. I want something above board that people don't say, well, how comes this person got it and I wanted it? Let's just do things so everyone knows what's going on.
That's why I asked for someone to come up with a policy. Thank you, Ed, for coming up with that. Go ahead, you want to say something?
Can you put that in writing and have it fine to like a time frame for future reference for, you know, when we have other things to dispose of, not just poker tables, so that they have it in the office for future boards, so there's no confusion on the elimination of things. Just like we'll post it in the Timber Times and sell it within X amount of days after the posting.
Yes.
Timber Times, yeah, yep, Timber Times and the website.
Okay, so there's a motion on the table. Could you just clear up, John?
No, not to be too serious, but, if we're talking about a live auction, the whole law is about that. You do need a certified, I don't know if certified's the right word, but there's a profession called auctioneers.
I don't know that we need to be that technical with this. Yeah, it's not a public auction. This is just within Timber Oaks.
Go ahead, Jerry.
Gary Pierce, 3326 Monterey. All I can say is, this is really getting complicated. I mean, when we did the sewing, we just had bags there and everybody put their name in the bag and if you want to put a price on it, and then it was over and done with. It's not a big deal. I mean, it's good to have a policy to say you just can't give something away to, somebody, but it's just becoming complicated.
Go ahead, Sue.
What we did with the sewing machines is we set a price. Yes, we did. We had a price for each of the sewing machines. And there was 2 different prices because a couple worked and a couple didn't work. We set a price, we put our names in a bag, and they drew out one of the names, and that person got that sewing machine for that price. Was it?
We had their names on a sheet for each particular machine. It was for machine number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. We did not get any money.
We didn't? I thought we did for the.
Not the machines.
All right, sorry, I stand corrected.
The chairs, also, we didn't get any money when we did the.
Okay, can we just look at this and come up with a policy for the next time and we can vote or change the policy or till the next one, till our next meeting. Yep. For now, the poker tables need to be disposed of. So shall we do an auction? We'll set this up right now just for the poker tables and we'll do a full policy for future use.
Okay. You did make a motion, right, Ed?
Yep.
Okay. Okay, and the motion is?
That we have an open auction. Yeah, I'll just do it for the poker tables right now, okay? I move that we have an open auction for the poker tables, each one being sold individually, since they are in various condition. And we'll dispose of them that way. If we don't get any bids, they'll be given away.
Okay.
Second.
Well, Okay, we have a second, but Paula would like to say something.
Morning, I'm Paula from Monterey. I'm definitely interested in the pool tables, and I'm sure you're not gonna have any problem auctioning them off. That's the way you choose to do it. But I think the time is very, very important. We're coming into April, so as soon as you can do it, like tomorrow would be great. But I know, but as soon as possible would be really good. I appreciate it.
Okay.
We'll have to post notice so everyone is knowledgeable about it.
Okay. Yep, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, correspondence. Rob Ernest, would you step up to the mic, please?
I didn't want to be involved in this.
Oh. Sorry.
Hi, Bob Ernest. Right over here on Michaelwood Drive. I don't want to give my address. 8434 Michaelwood Drive, Port Ritchie, over here. And I just want to make a proposal to get my off on. Can you hear me?
Gotta speak
You gotta speak right
I got it. Okay, sorry about that. All I'm trying to do is just get an extra day for the pickleball players on Thursday, 2:00, so that we can bring in new players, start playing on an extra day, because we have too many on Monday and Tuesday. We're trying to get new players involved, but given 2:00. And I understand that we're gonna be losing one day, one week out of the month, which is fine. I just want to try to get more people involved on a Tuesday, because when they come in and watch us on Monday and Tuesday, they say they're gonna join, and then they find out that we're playing a little too hard for them, and they don't follow the rules. So that's what we're trying to do with the proposal.
Okay.
All right? I don't know how else to throw it out there, I just.
Thank you for your request. Now we will discuss it. We have to make a motion.
I think we gotta look at what's going on and as far as, you know, whether we can.
The
have
only
another
thing
day.
that interferes with it is the card party, and that will be one Thursday a month.
But,
So,
we have so many things going on in the auditorium that, and we kind of have to piecemeal it for different things. I mean, when we have things like, well, the murder mystery that's coming up and Kaleidoscope, we have rehearsals that have to be done here. You can't do them anyplace else. And the choraleers, when they're practicing for it, I don't, you know, you have 2 evenings now with specific times. And my other question is, especially now when the weather is as fine as it is, well, can be, why can't you use the lines that are on the tennis court?
I'll speak for Bob now. In the first place, in the summertime, it's very hot outside. Oh, my name is Jerry Peters, 3326 Monterey. I just want to make sure everybody knows. And outside is nice, there's no problem, but sometimes it gets very hot out there. And if you ask the Kaleidoscope people, pickleball people are very easy to give up some time and change their time around to accommodate. They don't like it. No, they don't like it because the Kaleidoscope people can't do their rehearsal late, so they want to do it earlier. So the pickleball people can play late, which they do. So they've always accommodated, not gratefully, you know, but they've worked with the people. So, and next day, if the room is sitting empty, and believe me, if you come up to them and say, we have a shower going on or something else going on, they would give up the room for it.
Yes, they did. I'm sorry, but I was in Kaleidoscope when we ran a little late and we had major fighting going on in here because of that group. As you know, I understand there's a lot of people interested in it, but they already have 2 evenings of the week to do their pickleball. And I understand there's a lot more people. I don't know if all of those people are members of Timber Oak. I think we are having problems with a lot of people coming in to the tennis courts and other areas that are not members of Timber Oaks. That would be my first suggestion, is that only Timber Oaks players play. But as far as I'm concerned, there are so many things that go on here, and you try to schedule, which I have scheduled. You know, Tom and I today had to go in and try and schedule for a cast party for Kaleidoscope. Everything is set up. If we keep doing this and keep tying up all of our time, then there will be nothing left for anything on the outside. And I'm sorry, but as far as the people who play pickleball saying, oh, it's okay, we can't do it that day, I have yet to see that.
Someone already, Eileen Dunn, your Visitor Drive. Someone brought up the point that we spent the money to put lines out on the tennis courts so they could play pickleball outside. And if you can play tennis in the summer when it's hot out, why can't you play pickleball? I don't understand that. But, and you could play pickleball in the evening and it's not as hot.
As far as the outside courts, you can do it weather permitting, and we can put aside Tuesdays 2 to 4, weather permitting, for you to play.
It was just a proposal, try to get some more people involved and stuff, but that's the way it plays out. That's the way it plays out. Thank you for your time.
You're welcome.
Gail Thompson, Hitchina Drive. Yeah, I wish I could play tennis, but I can't, and I don't play bocce or anything because once the weather gets warm, and in Florida, we never know when that's gonna be. So I don't try to do any outside sports. If the pickleball is something that so many people enjoy playing, but it's too hot to play it, isn't there a way where who do you have, a captain? I don't know about pickleball. But that they could call the night before or in the morning and find out. If this room is empty and it's gonna sit here all day empty, then I don't see why, I don't wanna give them another day, but why couldn't they just check and find out ahead of time? And if it's gonna be sitting here empty, then who cares if they come play pickleball?
Hi, Norman. Go ahead. Just FYI, there's 2 Thursdays in April that are taken, the fashion show and card party.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I forgot about the fashion show. Thank you for the reminder. Anybody want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion that we allow the pickleball players to play when there is nothing else going on.
Good job, Ed.
And remember, we're open 24 hours, so if you want to come in at 9 o'clock and there's nothing set up, you can set up your net and play. Right.
Do we have a second?
I don't know that we need that motion because it is available. I mean, people who want to play ping pong, if nothing's going on the porch, set up the tables and play. Debbie?
We do need a motion, because then it comes down on us in the office whether we say yes or no. So it really does need to be in the books like we originally did.
All right. Debbie says it does need to have a motion because it would go to the members in the office, the people in the office, whether or not to okay it, depending on what is going on. And the other thing we have is if there's something going on Thursday night or Friday morning, a lot of times if they're off Friday, this is already set up for something going on. So it would be up to them and they would have to say yes or no. So I will second that motion then.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Yeah.
We hear the motion again, please.
If there's nothing going on, they can play pickleball.
They have to get permission.
None of you have a mic on.
They are allowed to play pickleball in the auditorium with permission from the office if nothing is going on in here.
Okay, go ahead, Jen.
Just for common knowledge, we're going to have 2 sets of the cornhole boards and bags at the shuffleboard court. They're the same distance and length, they're not being utilized in here, they're hidden away. So as of Monday, that will be another option to entertain yourselves with.
And they'll be in the closet that has
The
the,
shuffleboard court, the cornhole boards and the bags
and they'll be in the cabinet.
in the cabinet, the shuffleboard cabinets that you have to have a combination for. So if y'all want to play cornhole outside, that would be another option to entertain yourselves with.
You can get the combination from the office. Okay. All right, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Okay, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, this meeting is adjourned. Now we have open forum. Anybody have anything for open forum?